Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray, and Dad over here, Mike, he decided he was going to join me tonight.
Old man has showed up.
And, here's the thing is I don't think Mike likes the weather. I don't think he likes the cold weather because for some reason you showed up all summer long, but then yet as soon as it got cold.
I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit. I go into my hole and I don't come out. I'm a bear hibernating in winter. Done.
And of course, we are live with our special guest, Nakia Burrise. How you doing tonight? As we know, you're part of Power Rangers Turbo, Power Rangers Zeo. I remember you from that. How did all that come to be? How did you get involved with Power Rangers?
Well, I was in college at the time, and my major was film, television, and theater, film, and television. And I hooked up with a manager, and he actually submitted me for the audition. I did not know what Power Rangers was. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't really watching television at the time, so I really didn't know. I just know that they told me to wear yellow, learn these lines, and show up. I didn't know I was going to be a Power Ranger. I didn't know I was replacing anyone. I just knew that it was a job and an opportunity, and I wanted it. So I was 20. I was a junior in college. I was 20. By the time I started filming, I was 21. This was in 1995, October, September 1995, somewhere around there. Then we started filming, I think, in November or something, right after my birthday in October. And I had 5 auditions, which is a lot. Most people don't have that many. You have the first call where there's like hundreds of people. Then you get the call back where it's down to like 40. Then I had my third call back. That was down to about 7 of us. Then I had the screen test, and that's where I met Catherine. There were 3 of us at the screen test. And then I had a final interview, and then voila!
There you
In
are.
the Power Ranger.
Well, that's a lot of work, but that must have felt pretty positive. You go in for all those second interview, third interview, you must have felt pretty positive. Hey, I'm getting this role. And once you actually got onto the set of Power Rangers, and once you knew it was Power Rangers in a show like that, what was your first initial thought when they told you, hey, and of course you're coming fresh off of, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the popularity that had, going into Alien Rangers and, how,
like you said, you had no idea what Power Rangers were. So how did that play into that?
Well, to answer your first question, which was, it must have been really cool with all the callbacks and everything. It was cool, but it was extremely nerve-wracking. Like going in every single time, and then, you're that much closer, but you don't know if you're going to get it or not. I remember being stressed out and just asking people to pray for me. So when it was all said and done, I was like, yay, yes, done. When I got on the set of Power Rangers, I still didn't understand the magnitude. I really did not. I know people would be like, you're going to be on Power Rangers. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Really, really cool. I would say I didn't understand the magnitude until I actually left Power Rangers. And no, because when we were about to do the movie, actually, that's when I think I started to realize, because there were a lot of people at our premiere, a lot of people on the, outside the premiere. That's when I started to understand. But then I only had, half a season on Turbo, and then Power Rangers was over for me. Yeah. Back then, there was no social media. I think MySpace was coming out. So I really didn't know much about conventions. I didn't know anything about any of that. So when I started doing conventions is when I really understood the cult following that there is for Power Rangers. It's huge. I would have never imagined, that people would remember what I did in episode 356 and, what I said and what I didn't say. And yeah, it's a wonderful franchise and family to be a part of. So I feel very blessed to be a part of it.
And it's crazy that you bring up the conventions, because we talked to Catherine Sutherland. She was 2 episodes ago. Of course, for anybody listening or watching live, of course, we're on Facebook Live right now. We're on Facebook Live every week early with our guests. Keep that in mind. But we were talking about with Catherine, it's crazy. We have a lot of horror guests on and all that, conventions, it's crazy how many people come out for conventions. You kind of rejuvenate, characters and rejuvenate popularity of stuff. It's like at that point, like with Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin toys were since long gone. But now it's like conventions are coming out. Now the toys are starting to be remanufactured. They're remanufacturing certain things that come out. The popularity is there. It catches interest of people. If they're at a Comic-Con and they see Power Rangers and they don't know what Power Rangers is, they're like, oh, let me look up Power Rangers. And then boom, all of a sudden you have a new batch of Power Rangers fans coming out of the woodwork that you never knew would ever see the show.
And I would say Netflix had a lot to do with that, because all of the seasons of Power Rangers was available on there. And so at cons, we would see, generations. We would see 3-year-olds all the way up to grandparents that were like, I remember you. I showed to my kids. And so the parents are now showing their kids and their grandkids. And it's amazing. It's a blessing.
It's a generational thing. Exactly. Transcends generations.
And of course, Mighty Morphin and of course Zeo and Turbo, they were in my generation for Power Rangers. I kind of checked out after Turbo, but I remember Turbo. And to you, which do you think was your favorite? Did you like being the Zeo Ranger more, or did you like being the Turbo Ranger more? Did you have a preference of either one?
Well, Ray, I liked them both for different reasons. I loved Zeo because I felt like my character had more storylines. There were certain episodes that were, that really focused in on my character. And I loved Turbo because we got to fight. Because in Zeo, they were all our stunt guys fighting. Okay. We never fought. And in Turbo, we did the Turbo movie, and then we went into the Turbo series, and I loved the fighting. So much fun. So much fun.
Well, I remember Catherine, she said that when we interviewed her, she said that Zeo, they started to phase out the out of costume fights because kids were starting to duplicate it. And then Turbo, it started to come back. You were actually doing, the fights out of costume. So that had to be fun. How was the training for that? And did you get hurt during any of those fights?
No, I never got hurt. I think I accidentally punched one of the stunt guys. But before we did the movie, there were 6 weeks of stunt fight training. But, all of the guys in my season are martial artists. Like, they're just not anybody you want to mess with. Like, literally, we would be filming. They'd say, cut. You look to the right. Johnny is spinning on a broom, doing a high clip over the tree, coming back. And I'm like, what the? And then they're like, okay, we're back. I mean, like, seriously, he would be spinning on, like, holding a broom and just like spinning around and jumping off, doing backflips off trees. And this is just in between takes.
This is parkour before parkour was a thing.
Yes. They're all really, really great martial artists. So we did 6 weeks of fight training. Kat and I were dancers, so we could pick up choreography pretty well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was very, very sore, but it was a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah. And now with me, with the costumes, which costume did you like better? Because I prefer, out of the Zeo and Turbo, I was kind of drawn towards the Turbo costumes because I thought the helmets were badass. Those were bad with the grills on the front over that. The Zeo helmets, they were cool, but they were also, they kind of had like that little weird look to them. But the Turbo helmets kind of reminded me a little bit more of the traditional Mighty Morphin Power Rangers helmets. I feel in a lot of the newer seasons too, that the helmets have gotten so, so many different weird designs on them now that I'm just kind of like, I like, the Zeo, the Mighty Morphin ones, and the Turbo ones. I feel like those were the best designs for the helmets.
I would agree with you with the helmets. I loved the Turbo helmets, but I loved the Zeo suits. I loved the intricacy. It reminded me of kind of like Egyptian. Yeah. Which it was. Now that's something that we talked about because we were talking about the Megazord and how it looks like the wings of a spear. I don't know, whatever, Egyptian. So I like the Zeo suits and I like the Turbo helmets.
And with the conventions, what do you think is probably the craziest thing someone's brought into a convention that you've seen, that you've signed? And one of our friends, we told Catherine this, he's a huge Power Rangers fan. He has the helmets, the costumes, he has the green dagger, he has all kinds of stuff. What do you think is the craziest Power Ranger memorabilia you've seen that someone's brought in or handmade?
Oh my gosh. I would really have to think. There's been so many really interesting things and really some questionable things. Um,
We want to hear about the questionable things. Oh, I
I look at them and I'm grateful. I'm so thankful that you brought these to me. Thank you. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but thank you.
Yeah.
I always receive things unless it's disgusting, like gross or something. Then I receive them, and I'm very grateful that they even thought about me that way to even bring anything. Um, but I've seen people that come with tattooed faces of rangers.
Really? Like, is it like a helmet? Please tell me it's a
No,
face
no,
helmet tattoo.
not on their face. They'll have on their arm, on their leg,
on their body, not
yeah, on their body, not come tattooed in the yeah.
Could
And
you
that
imagine
when
that?
I first saw that, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you must really love that person, really, because that face ain't gonna go away until you take that off. But yeah, tattooed faces, not on their face, but on their arms or their legs or the shins or their sides. Um, I've had, baked goods come, and to me that's a little strange because for me, I'm I don't know where your hands have been. I mean, I'm sure you're a nice person, but
Yeah.
if you're bringing me food that was baked with your hands, I don't know if there's rats in your kitchen. I don't know where your hands have been when you're baking it. I will receive it, but I will not eat it.
Yeah. And now it's now stuck in my mind. It's now burned into my brain. Imagine that you're at a convention and somebody comes up and their head's fully shaved and they've literally have sat down long enough to have a Ranger's helmet tattooed on their entire head. Now imagine that you're at a convention and all you see is just pure yellow going around their head and they have the turbo going around there. Now we've seen a lot of crazy tattoos out there. I have tattoos myself, but just imagine that. Like you just go like that would by far probably no doubt you'd probably be like, this is probably the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That would be the winner. That would definitely be the winner. And you know what? I can't say that's going to be far fetched because I can see that can happen. Yeah, there have been crazier things that have happened, but yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Ooh, when it happens, I'm gonna have to take a picture and I'm gonna send it to you. Be like, Ray,
Yes, definitely send it to us and we will definitely put it up. And of course, we're coming 6 days later after the fact. We were supposed to have you on last week, but unfortunately, my tooth was bothering me. And we had an episode last night. It was our vintage episode. I talked about it a little bit. And pretty much what happened is I thought my tooth was abscessed. And I remember I told you, I was like, hey, is there any way, we can do it another time? You're like, yeah, I can do it next Wednesday. No problem. Well, I'm like, all right, cool. Apparently it wasn't abscess. What happened is that my tooth had a filling in it and it had a crack up the top. And since my wisdom tooth blocked it over time, the crack got bigger. So now there's a hole in that tooth to the nerve. And the only way they were able to see it was through an x-ray. So Thursday and Friday, I was in immense pain, but they gave me a decent prescription. And as I told everybody last night, for anybody watching at home, I've already looked up. I'm fine with drinking like we normally do every week because I already looked up.
She doesn't care about your tooth.
Oh no, I am so interested. I actually am. I'm very interested.
Well,
And
what
I'll
that
tell you
does
in a second.
is that gets on. How do you feel about dental work? Because me, I'm all giddy. Like they're telling me I need to get a root canal, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure about that
too.
because I hate
because I'm old.
I hate people messing around with my mouth.
No, I am all for dental, getting what you need done. My husband does not like it whatsoever, can't stand to go to the dentist, but it's a necessity. When you told me that you probably had an abscess, the first thing that I did was pray for you because my uncle actually died from an abscess tooth. Like he did not and it's serious because he didn't go to the dentist in time. And what happens is you have all of this bacteria and all of this stuff that is going straight down your esophagus into your intestines, and it starts to infect the rest of your body. And his organs got infected and he died within a week.
Wow. And my wife, she had an abscess tooth before. And actually the prescription that they gave me was actually a prescription that clears out all the bad and the good bacteria from your system. So they were pretty much like, eat probiotics. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I've ever eaten a probiotic in my life. Like, they're like,
Jamie Lee Curtis, the yogurt commercial. That's what it is.
But no, that's the whole thing. So I feel great that I'm able to talk to you tonight because, I was like, man, damn it, I can't do the podcast without being able to talk. So
what did they do? You didn't tell me what they ended up doing then. What did they take it out, fix it?
They didn't take it out. He gave me the option of we can either pull it right now or we can save it. So basically I have the root canal coming up on the 23rd. The medicine they gave me pretty much, there's no pain there now, but they're going to sit there. What they're going to do is they're going to grind it down after the root canal and he's going to put a crown on it. So that's pretty much what's going to happen with that. And he's like, if we wanted to call it now, it probably would have been at the point where it would have had to been where it would have been pulled, or it probably would have became abscess because it's so big, but it's blocked by my wisdom tooth. And they were like, well, we can take your wisdom teeth out, which I have one here, and one that's impacted right here. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go through all that.
Here. Did you say 5 times? Here.
No, here, and here. So I have one on each side.
Okay. So I was like, you got an extra
4
tooth.
wisdom teeth like most normal people do.
Shut up. And of course, also, along with Power Rangers, you've done a lot of stuff with the Barbie Dreamhouse Adventures. How was that? How was doing the Barbie Dreamhouse Adventures stuff?
It was, it was new for me because I hadn't done any voiceover. That started with, actually it was a Power Ranger connection because Scott Page, who worked at Power Rangers as the voiceover engineer and director, he ended up moving to Mattel. And he would call me in for auditions. And one project that I had auditioned for was called Mermaid's Tale. It was a Barbie movie. And I played I ended up booking it and playing the role of Fallon. And then Mattel liked me. They brought me back to do part 2. And then they just offered me the Nikki role for Barbie's Life in the Dream House. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I had a great time doing that. And then they just recently, the last 2 years, they switched cast. They went a little bit younger, and now they have Barbie's Dream Adventures. And so in Barbie's Life of the Dream House, I played Nikki. In Barbie's Dream Adventures, I played Principal Miller. So I play an adult. And the other one, I was playing like a younger adult, I guess you would say. And
how was that? Because obviously, a lot of people growing up, they grew up with Barbies. And I'm pretty sure, you probably had Barbies at some point in your life. How was it, having the Barbies as a kid and then growing up and being able to voice one of the Barbie characters?
I played with Tonka trucks. I didn't play with Barbies. I'm kidding. I did play with Tonka trucks though too. I have 2 brothers. Oh my gosh, I had my little Barbie house. I had my little Ken. I had my little white Barbie doll. I had my little black Barbie doll. I had my we would just have a ball. I made my own little section of the Barbie section inside of my room. I can honestly say, when I go out, I'm like, I am a superhero and a Barbie doll because I have my own Barbie doll and my own action figure.
Right on.
What a blessing.
Yes.
What an absolute blessing. Like, for real.
And you know what would be cool, and I'm not sure if they've done it, but Mattel should get together with Bandai and make Power Ranger Barbie doll figures. That would be cool. Actually, WWE kind of did that with their women wrestlers. They made actual doll versions of their female competitors, and that would be cool to do it for all of the female Power Rangers that they've ever had, is to do that. And
that would be cool. Bandai doesn't own it anymore though. Hasbro does. So
Hasbro, okay.
Hasbro, and that sounds like 2 huge companies that would be battling for the rights of that. So that would be interesting to see, but I think that's a great idea.
And with Barbie, and I can't help but to think of this, like the Ken doll, to me, that Ken doll looks so deceiving. He pretty much looked like, and me and my wife just recently got Discovery Plus. And the reason why we got it is because she loves watching Investigation Discovery. And, as an adult, and even when I was a kid, you could sit there and look at the Ken doll and it's like, that Ken doll is definitely Ted Bundy. He's definitely has killed a bunch of these Barbies. They're definitely somewhere. Their corpses are in a dumpster somewhere, and Ken knows where they are, but he's not telling.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
And I mean, plus you look at it like, and also, correct me if I'm wrong with the Barbies. I think Ken there for a while was the only male. And at that point, it's just kind of like, where's all the other men? What's going on? It's all these women and it's him. And then all of a sudden they keep on getting different Barbies. They keep on getting different Barbies. And I think it was Robot Chicken. There was a show called Robot Chicken. And I think they did kind of like a little incarnation of that the different Barbies came out because Ken kept killing them. And that's what happened. So, you have Malibu Beach Barbie because such and such Barbie was killed by Ken. So Ken was kind of like Jack the Ripper of the Barbie.
That's funny. That's funny.
And of course, more so with your career too, you also did Danger Force. How is Danger Force?
I'm currently doing Danger Force. So much fun. So much fun. So it's ironic that I get to play the mother of two superheroes. So twin fraternal superheroes. So yeah, I have a recurring role on that on Nickelodeon. And I was actually just on set last week. Was it last week? The week before last? I don't even know what date it is. It was this month. The kids are so great. They're so talented. Cooper, who plays, Captain Man, the one that was a part of Henry Danger, just so down to earth. So it's such an incredible set to be on because it's like a family. Like everybody that you see behind, the directors, the writers, they've all been together for over 6 years because they all worked on Henry Danger. And then this is a spinoff of Henry Danger. So everybody, it's like a huge family that you're being brought into. So I love having the Danger Force family and then also having the Power Ranger family. It's great.
And it would be, and we discussed this with Catherine as well. Would you ever go back to Power Rangers if they proposed it to you, and also if it was kind of like in a mentor type role? Like if they were like, hey, we're going to have a new batch of Rangers. Can you come in as kind of a senior Ranger to guide them?
A geriatric Ranger? Is that what you're trying to say, Ray? You're trying to say geriatric? I think that would be really great. I felt like that's what was missing from the last movie. Like they did not, there's so many of us Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I think that it really would have helped. I thought the movie was good, but I think it could have been great if they would have brought in some of the original Rangers to play the teachers, to play the moms, to play that would be great. They brought back JDF and Amy Jo, but even them, it was like 5 seconds. They took a picture and then that was it. Like I really felt like they really need to delve into the fandom, the Power Ranger fandom, and the Power Ranger fandom loves the original Rangers.
Yeah, and I guess would it kind of be like, if you're familiar with Marvel, I guess would it kind of be like a Power Rangers multiverse? Like pretty much, hey, all these Rangers from different eras and, just getting together. Like, you could have an episode where there's a Mighty Morphin, a Turbo, and some of the currents all fighting together, and it just kind of hops around the different storylines, different plateaus. It goes back in time, goes forward in time. Yeah.
I like that. Write that script, Ray. Write it. That's a really good idea.
You look at it with streaming, there's so many possibilities now with streaming. We're on the verge of the next, big cable war with streaming. And, everybody knows that's coming. Regular cable is going to go and it's going to be all streaming. Everything's turning to streaming. So a show like that would be absolutely amazing to see. And also, you got to look at it as there's a lot of remakes with movies too. You got Mortal Kombat that was just announced. It looks like it's being pulled right out of the game. So, it can benefit Power Rangers in that way as well.
Yeah, I agree. All good stuff there. Very good.
And of course, you were the Yellow Ranger. Was there ever any time when you sat there and thought, maybe I would want to be a different color suit in the Power Ranger saga? Or did you enjoy being yellow? Like, did you ever sit there and think, oh, what would be cool if they made a girl red? Or, maybe I could have been pink or,
I was fine being yellow. What I wasn't fine with was, I felt like at a point after, that's why I said I liked Zio, because Tanya had more storylines and had, more of a focus. But then at some point I felt like it was just like a background ranger. So it wasn't even the color for me. It was just storylines. Like I wanted to have, of course it was in every episode, which was a blessing, but it would have been nice to have more substance.
Yeah.
My character had to have a little bit more substance. I didn't care what color I was. I was
You keep saying the word blessing, and I'm picking up on that. Are you a spiritual person?
Yes, I am.
Yes. All right. So am I.
All right. All right. Yes, God is very much a part of my life. Always.
And with that question, it kind of makes me go, hey, if I were a Power Ranger, if you were a Power Ranger, Mike, what color suit would you have?
I would go with red only because it's my
Red?
favorite color, and because also, again, me being the old man, generation prior to you and you, there's parallels between Voltron and Power Rangers.
Okay, I forgot about Voltron.
They're not really
Yeah.
the same show at all, but the color schemes, the unity aspect, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. And
I used to watch Voltron.
red line.
Would you ever, let's say if they came out with a Voltron show, would you ever do Voltron?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to watch Voltron, He-Man, and She-Ra. My brother was He-Man. I was She-Ra. Yes. Princess of Power. Yeah, we were.
You're now Mike's favorite person. He loves
you
me.
now my favorite guest.
And me, if I had to choose, I would, same thing with you, I would choose my favorite color, which is orange. I grew up with orange, huge Orioles fan, and I don't think there were really any orange color Rangers from.
No, not that I can think of. No.
So yeah, I mean, I think orange would stand out a little bit. And what we're going to do real quick for those of you listening at home, we're going to go and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back with Nakia Burrise. Once we get back, we're going to do our shot of the month and our games. And for those of you watching live, we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Mike. He decided to bless me with his presence tonight. It's been 17 episodes you've been missing or something like that.
Wow.
He's on and off. The cool thing is we have such a variety of hosts that we have coming in and out. Of course, Tommy Sambazo, shout out, local comedian, part of the Laugh Finder podcast. He helps us out every so often. And what I'm going to do.
What he's forgetting to say is all of us, the regular hosts, have our other side projects as well. So we're busy all the time. So when we can all get together, it's a big deal.
And what we're going to do real quick is we're going to get into our beer of the week, which Trowogs, we've had Trowogs a lot on this show. This is the third time we've had Trowogs.
Is pretty prominent now.
And they also share a lot of our stuff. So Trowogs, we're going to give a shout out to Trowogs. And I have Grand Cocoa Chocolate Stout, which actually is not bad. And Mike, you cannot enjoy this because you've been clean and sober for a long time, which I applaud that. Much stronger will than I. But shout out to Trowogs. If you're there, make sure that for those of you watching at home, this is a can. Go on and get yourself some Grand Cocoa Chocolate Stout. It's amazing.
It's chocolate beer?
Yeah, it's chocolate beer. Yeah,
wow.
It's actually hot chocolate flavored beer. So, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to pull out Blood's favorite thing. He's expressed his hatred for this numerous times. And this is our shot of the month.
That looks toxic. It's a very bright blue.
Yes. Polo Club American Gin. And for anybody who drinks gin, and of course,
a gin fan in my prior days. Yes.
So. And it sucks because I probably should have did the gin with the juice, but I'm too stupid for all that. And I just do it as
G. Do the gin with juice. Yeah. All right.
So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to wish that I'm going to pass. I'm going to want to be deceased after this because this is the worst, and it's not. Polo Club shout out, and it's nothing against Polo Club. It's all gin, but we support all alcohol on this show. So without further ado, here we go. Cheers, everybody at home. Make sure you pick up some Polo Club gin. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into our games, which the train sort of derails a little bit after our games because our games are always fun. So what we're going to do So we're going to get into our first game, which is 5-second rule. Have you ever played 5-second rule?
Mm-mm.
All right. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to say name 3 things of a certain category, and you have 5 seconds to answer. If you don't get it, it'll go to Mike. If Mike doesn't get it, it'll go to me. And pretty much the whole premise is you have it easy, because if you say 2 of a certain thing and don't get it, Mike cannot say those 2 things. He needs to think of 3 brand new things to say after that. So
Okay.
I'm going to get the timer ready that came with it.
Let
And
me just cashew. Give me 1 second.
You're good. You're good.
Let me drink my gin. Water.
Your water flavored gin.
Okay.
All right, and Nakia, what we're going to do is you're going to name 3 shades of blue.
Light blue, dark blue, sky blue.
You got it. All right.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's
even go
quick.
to Mike. And I was sitting there. I had navy stuck in my head. I'm like, I'm
thinking
going to say.
Crayola crayons. I'm thinking like periwinkle and all abstract stuff.
All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into our game called Incoherent. And the reason why it's called Incoherent is as you're saying this out, listen to how you're saying it, and you can figure out what the card is. But the card is spelled out the way you would see it if you were to drink that whole entire bottle of Polo Club or drink a 6-pack of the Grand Cocoa chocolate stout. So
Okay.
pretty much this is what it is right here. So that, can you see that okay?
Uh-huh.
And you have 1 minute to figure out, let me get this timer all set.
Name of, what is it? The name of what?
You just have to guess what it says. And then there's 2 hints if you can't figure it out that I can give you within the amount of time. So the timer starts now.
Creme de lait, creme pear heave out ka. Creme pear heave out ka.
It's even worse to me because I'm seeing it backwards on the computer here. Like, what?
Okay, give me a hint.
Spiked juice.
Creme. Ooh. Creme pear heave out. I have no idea.
You want another hint?
Yes.
It's delicious and it helps to fight off UTIs.
Cranberry juice.
Cran-
Cram pear.
your
Cranberry is right.
cranberry is
I'll
right.
give you that
got
one.
the
Oh,
first
2
part.
things. Cram pear.
Cranberry spiked.
Yeah.
Out cow. With gin.
Russian, clear.
I don't know my drinks. Brandy. It ain't brandy.
It's cranberry and vodka.
Oh.
Cranberry,
How did you get vodka? Have out ka. Oh.
They get vodka
Yeah.
out of that. Yes.
Okay.
yeah. Cranberry heave alt call. Cranberry alt call. So I guess if you say it cranberry heave alt call, that's how it
That was kind of a tough
Yeah.
one. That was a tough one.
I was
All right.
like, am I needing hooked on phonics right now?
What we're going to do is and of course, this segment is called Ode to Humanity. We can't have Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity. So you know what Cards Against Humanity is.
I've played it before.
Okay, so you know what you're getting yourself into. So normally we do 4 cards, but the card that I randomly drew out of the box is a draw 2 card. So it's going to have 2 blanks. So
Okay.
Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you read these off. And then Nakia, we're going to read off all your selections and you tell us which 2 you think best answer the blanks.
Okay. I haven't played this in a while, so I'll try to figure out which 2 best answers the blanks. Okay.
Oh, I feel so bad because what was said earlier, and now I'm gonna have to use foul language. Ah, all right. Goodbye, blank, comma, hello, exclamation point. A magician fucking up over and over again. Scientology. A brain tumor. Farting and walking away. Farting's always fun. Joyless wooden Soviet toys. Maybe getting a little involved in selling heroin sometimes.
Okay. So what am I supposed to do with those cards?
So with those cards, and we can reread them, it's goodbye blank, comma, hello blank. So whichever two you think would be goodbye to whichever one, and then hello.
To help you out, it could be
I think the goodbye would be
goodbye, brain tumor, hello, farting and walking away version.
Okay, so I thought goodbye would be the farting and walking away.
Okay. Crop dust. Good. All right.
And the hello. Oh, what were the cards? Can you just really quickly?
Oh, that's no problem.
All right, I'll read the gross one first. A magician fucking up over and over again. Scientology, a brain tumor, joyless wooden Soviet toys, maybe getting a little involved in selling heroin sometimes.
I think selling heroin sometimes.
Nice. So yours is goodbye farting and walking away, hello, maybe getting a little involved in heroin sometimes. Now, if I could choose, I would choose goodbye, a magician fucking up over and over again, and hello, maybe getting a little involved in heroin sometimes. Because especially if you are that magician, it's goodbye to that, but hello to this addiction that I now have because I am a screw up.
Yes.
Thank you for taking part in our games. We appreciate it. And of course, you and Catherine, you guys have your own stuff. You have Power Rangers Playback on YouTube, and you guys have the Super Chat podcast. How's that? I've seen you guys' videos. I pulled the commercials. We're airing them on all the commercial breaks. Everybody at home just heard them listening at home. So, how is that doing that? Because it looks like you guys just have a blast doing those shows.
Work our stomach muscles every time we're together with laughter. It just comes naturally. We have literally been sisters for over 20 something years. I met her in my screen test, and we've been friends ever since. We're literally 3 days apart, born the same year. We were at a convention once, and we had seen Troy Baker and Nolan North, and we were like, what is they had this enormous line, and we were like, what are they? We discovered that they were voiceover artists, but they were also YouTubers.
Okay.
And we were like, oh my gosh, we should do a YouTube channel. Yeah. And so we were in Scotland, and we were trying to figure out what our YouTube channel would be. And so we were like, what are we asked all the time? They ask us about our episodes. What were we thinking in this episode and that episode? So we came up with, oh my gosh, we're going to call it Power Rangers Playback. We're going to sit and we're going to watch our episodes and tell people what we were thinking, what was going on. It was such a fabulous idea. The very first episode we went to air, we got a copyright claim.
Really?
Just a few hours before it was going to air. The 20-minute episode shrunk down to 5 minutes because they had done a copyright claim on 15 minutes of the 20-minute episode.
Okay.
So after the third or fourth episode, every episode we kept airing with playback, we kept getting copyright claims from the Japanese company Toei and Hasbro.
Wow.
And so we were like, gosh, this was such a fabulous idea. Everybody was so excited about it. What are we going to do? We can't, then we eventually got a strike. And with YouTube, you get 3 strikes, it's out. You're out.
I never knew YouTube had a strike system like that. And that's crazy that they're going to flag you guys like that, especially knowing the fact that you were a part of the show. It'd be different if it was 2 random schmoes like me and him doing it. And they're like, all right, you're using copyrighted material.
Speak
but
for yourself, you're a schmo.
Yeah, it was crazy. But what I will say is I feel like God allowed that to happen because we had no choice but to come up with new content.
Yeah.
I literally stayed up until, because I tend to think a little bit more when it's later at night. I was sitting there and I was like, Lord, just give me some ideas. I wrote down probably about 8 or 9 different new ideas, and we've implemented them all. We have a game show now called Who Knows It Best, which is Power Ranger Trivia. We have live guests. Actually, that came from some of our channel members. They were like, why don't you guys have special, have some interview people on your channel? We didn't even think about that. We're like, oh, hey, that's a great idea. Then we did Power Cook-Off, but then COVID came, and you can't exactly be cooking, you don't know where everybody's hands have been and everything. So we had to kind of pause that. We did 2 episodes of that, but we've just been able to create new content and stuff. And it's all because of the copyright claims. So it ended up being a blessing in disguise. But yeah, so we have Power Rangers Playback, our YouTube channel, and now we have a podcast called Super Chat with Kat and Nakia. We just aired February 1st. And we're trying to take it away from, we're giving people an insight into our life.
Okay.
Like the truth about, being moms, being wives, our faith, the perils, relationships. Like, you get to see our heart. It's more than just, okay, we wore spandex and a helmet and we were Power Rangers. So that's what the Power Rangers Playback is about. Power Rangers, and Super Chat is about our lives and us as a whole. And so the guests that we bring on there, some of them have been, and Roger just aired, some of them are going to be Power Rangers, some of them are not going to be Power Rangers, but we're not focusing on Power Rangers. We ask them about their life then, during, now, and then we play. I'm such a game person, by the way. So when you said that there were games, I was like, yes! Every year I have family game night, and there's like 60 people at my house, and we play games. I have trophies, we have awards. It's so much fun. So we also have some fun questions that we like to ask some of our guests, and we'll probably be implementing some games as well.
Nice. Definitely get Incoherent. That's fun. And also there's one, I think it's called Speak It Out. And that's when you put those like those little things in your mouth, and your mouth's all the way, and you're trying to say.
What is the one with the headband and you put the
headbands? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Headbands.
That's a good one too. Yes. My wife has a giant family. Her mom is one of 17 children.
Oh man.
And all of them have children as well. So there's 80 or so family members currently.
Wow.
So it's a big deal too for us. Yes.
I never knew that, because my grandmother had 10 kids, plus you factor in all the grandchildren and a boyfriend, and I thought that was big. Oh my,
that was one of the games we played was headbands, and I was obnoxious and yelled and just like I'm doing now.
Everybody that comes to my house, they're all friends, because my family lives in Northern California, 5 hours away, and my husband's family lives in New Jersey and Texas. So it's
the coast. Okay.
Our friends that come with their families. Yeah, that's cool. You got some big family members.
Yes.
Members there.
And of course, speaking of Power Rangers Playback, when I watched the trailer for it, there was a video of a putty falling, and you see the video of him falling, and he's just like poof. Yes. He just hits hard. Would you mind talking about that? Because I saw it, and I literally laughed out loud when I saw it. I was like, is that legit? Like, did he legit just fall out of the sky and just poof on the ground?
That's why we cut that in. That was behind the scenes. So you got to see them falling on the mat, and they were just filming it. Of course, I'm sure they sped it up in the actual footage, but yeah, that was real. Those were the stunt guys, and they were doing a shot, and you could hear them falling on the mat. But I thought it was so funny. And I laughed so much that we were like, we've got to put this in our trailer, because we go behind the scenes, and talk about stuff like that.
And before we go, are there any other roles that you did that just kind of blew your mind that you did? And we see you've done all kinds of other stuff as well, but would you by far say that Power Rangers was the most mind-blowing role that you did, or is there anything else that you did that you were just kind of like, oh man, this is cool, I can't believe I'm actually doing this?
Well, Power Rangers was my first real job, and obviously most people know me from Power Rangers. Like, you could say, I've done this, they're like, oh, what Power Rangers? So I'm very grateful to be a part of the franchise, but there's some work that I really got a chance to, like, just hearty, deep work, like, well, gosh, there's so many things. I love a lot of the roles that I've played. I was on Moesha. I love comedy, number one. I really love comedy.
I did see Moesha. You did, I think, what, 5? I think it's a 5 or...
I don't even know. I was recurring on there, and it didn't start off as recurring. They just kept bringing my character back. And Heart of Dixie, I really loved that. I got to talk like this. And in the very first episode, my sister runs me over. So, and then they gave us the names Patty and Prissy Pritchett. Like, really?
What the hell?
We the Pritchett sisters. And that was so much fun. That was just supposed to be one episode, but they really liked our characters, so they kept bringing us back, and I just feel so grateful for that. So that was a lot of fun. When I worked with, gosh, what is her name? Atypical. It's on Netflix. She's
I've been watching Atypical the last few nights with my wife. Oh my goodness. I hate when she gets me into shows, and now she's got me sucked into this one so hard.
Are you in season 1?
Yes.
What?
Okay, so I'm in episode 4 or 5. My character is not very nice. But the lead character, what is her name, Mike?
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yes.
Oh.
I just have to say, she was so, knowing the caliber of work that she's done and the people that she's been around. I walk into the makeup trailer, and she was one of the first people to greet me and welcome me to her show. And it was just so sweet, because you don't often get that. I've been on sets where they didn't even speak to me. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do what I need to do. But it was so, she was very sweet, and all of my scenes are with her. My character's not very nice, so when you see me on there, don't be getting mad.
I will definitely keep a lookout for that now, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, with you saying that Kim ropes you into stuff, just did the same thing. I cannot remember the name of the show to save my life, but there's a show in there, and it's based back in the times when everybody, like, basically it's based in England, and all the women are prepping to be married, and they're trying to find
Bridgerton.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife was watching that one night. I was sitting there playing on the Switch, and she's watching it. I'm just kind of looking up. I'm like, and then all of a sudden it caught my attention. And the next thing you know, I'm just roped in, and she watched the last episode, and I never saw it. I asked her, I was like, what happened? Like, I needed to know what happened. And I'm just kind of like, did she really get me roped into
There's
this?
so many Netflix shows that start out that way, that the wives will watch it.
Yeah.
You're like, eye rolling, whatever. And then they catch you doing this, like, you're sleeping with your, I see you paying attention.
Yeah. And Nakia, you still there? I think Nakia's internet may have
This
froze
is that
up.
2-minute
And she
did
did say earlier that her internet tends to freeze up. So we were kind of wearing down to the end of our interview with Nakia anyways. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and say what's coming up. As we know, next week we will be back. Next week we will be live this Sunday. For those of you watching live here on Facebook Live, we will be live this Sunday with Tim R. McAdams. Tim is a professional stuntman. He's also an enrichment speaker. He did some stunts in Black Panther and various other movies. He also played Martin Lawrence's stunt double in the most recent Bad Boys movie. And also, don't forget, our merchandise is always available. This is our Happy Hour Podcast Fully Fermented Series TV show, or I'm sorry, from our old TV show, our Fully Fermented Series t-shirt that we have. And pretty much also shout out to our winners. We do a weekly contest in which you can win this merchandise, or you can have a chance to come onto an episode like this one and talk to a guest of your choosing for about 10 minutes. So make sure you always look out. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Now, Mike, is there anything you have going on that you want to talk about, like maybe some old man shit, like
some old man shit? I mean, well, yeah. My son last night was sleeping sideways across the pillows with his foot in my face, and he's a boy, so his feet stink and he's gross. He idolizes his dad, but I'm at the point now where I'm just like, dude, I can't handle this so much, man. So that's why I'm tired right now. I'm just like, I get 5 hours sleep. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, but get up at 3 because I'm getting kicked in the face, bam, kicked in the face, over and over and over again. And then the next kid says, "Oh, I want a snack."
And there's Nakia right there. There we go.
Abrupt transition there.
Hey, Nakia, how are you? Now, as we were telling them that you told us beforehand, occasionally your internet does fade out, and it happens. But we sat there.
One time.
We promoted our merchandise. We did all that cool, fun stuff. So you
That's
know,
that 99 cent. That's that 99-cent internet special.
and of course, you were saying before we went live, you were like, I just had the guy come out and look at it today. So
Yesterday, freaking no, Monday. I was like, really? He was like, your signal was a little weak, so they increased the signal. And then by the evening, the same thing was happening. So I have to figure this out. It's ridiculous.
and Nakia, we appreciate it. We were actually going to get ready to let you go, but I didn't want to just let you go and it just faded out from freezing out. Thank you for joining us on the Happy Hour podcast.
Thank
and
you
everybody
very much.
watching at home, thank you. As we said, we will be back next week with Tim R. McAdams. He's a professional stuntman and a Richmond speaker, and he was also the stunt double for Martin Lawrence in the most recent Bad Boys, and he also did some roles in Black Panther from Marvel. So make sure you catch us next week. And Nakia, can you just hang out for 1 second after?
Sure.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Happy Hour podcast. For those of you listening, we just started on Pandora Radio. So if you have Pandora, you can also hear us on Pandora along with Spotify, iHeart, Apple Radio, and wherever else you find your podcast. We have so many stations and so many venues. Thank you for tuning in every week. We will see you guys next week. Thank you.